So it is my understanding that Sony released the pre-sale for the anniversary edition of the PS5 Pro this morning, and it didn't go quite according to plan. No, the website wasn't crashing and people weren't getting kicked out or anything. It wasn't a Ticketmaster situation. They just sold out very, very quickly, and they are now surfacing on eBay for a ridiculous price. These things are being listed for upwards of £5,000 by accounts that actually have feedback. You often see 0 feedback, new user. These accounts have 57 feedback and have called blah 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 collectibles. There's someone trying to sell one for £10,000, and yes, they have an awful lot of watchers. That's probably people more curious to see whether they actually sell rather than people who are interested in buying it. And I'm seeing newer listings now go up and they're undercutting the top end, so you can see them there for £5 grand, £6 grand, £10 grand like I mentioned. There's a new listing there for £5,500 with someone who has nearly 3,000 feedback. These are professional resellers and scalpers, and it's absolutely disgusting to see, and Sony should definitely have done something to prevent this. But on top of it, people are buying them from what I can tell anyway. So if you go into the sold section on eBay on the 26th of September, which is today of course, you have sales of 4, 5, 4.5 grand, and they're from reputable sellers who have feedback, so they're not just like brand new accounts or anything. Now whether these people actually paid and don't end up refunding, I'm not sure, and I know that you're not going to be one of these people, but for the people who are buying these, you just need to not do it. I know you're desperate, and if you've got money to do it and it's not an object and you can just throw it around frivolously, what is that word? Frivolously? Words lost all meaning. Willy-nilly, let's go with that word. Then yet more power to you. Whatever you've done in life to achieve that wealth, I share it. But all you're really doing is encouraging the scalpers. I mean, these people have gone on and bought them for £1 grand from PS Direct and then have listed them for £5 grand, and they are earning so much money off these things, off the desperation of people. It is absolutely disgusting to see, and I really wish Sony had done something to prevent this from happening. So tomorrow morning is my understanding anyway that the PS5 Pro pre-orders will go on sale. Now for those, I don't really expect and or would I really want to see Sony restrict people buying them. 1 per person, sure, that makes sense, but I don't think there should be a block on whoever should be able to buy it, right? They're not going to be limited. They won't be sold out and that's it. They're not making any more. But when it comes to the anniversary edition, that's kind of the whole point. It's limited. And side note, it is beautiful. I absolutely love it. I think it's probably the best looking console I've ever seen. I actually really like the Cyberpunk Xbox console for some reason. Never played Cyberpunk, just really like the look of it. And there are a couple of other consoles. There's a Gears console for the Xbox that looks really nice. But this PlayStation console is probably one of the nicest, if not the nicest console I've ever seen from any company ever. And the accessories that go along with it, they are top notch. I mean, the level of detail in it is fantastic, even down to the charge cable. This thing is meant to look like a PS1 connector, and it absolutely does. Yes, it has a Type-C at the end of it, but once it's plugged in, it just looks brilliant. Even the cable ties are themed, and they look so good. Now, the price point in itself for an anniversary edition console was about 960 quid, which is absolutely mental. But for Sony to have not done anything to stop scalpers buying these is just baffling to me. Why would they not want to help out the consumer? I know Sony are not necessarily known for their one-to-one interactions with their fans, and they don't really take much of any criticism on board. And I've seen a lot of people on X complain that they've not been able to get one. Scalpers have bought one. You know, they've been a fan of PlayStation since the initial launch of the PS1. They had it as a kid. They loved it. They've stuck with Sony all this time. And scalpers are in their late teens, early 20s or something, who don't really even play video games, have just bought them up and sold them for a ridiculous profit, and Sony have done nothing to prevent it. And I can absolutely understand the frustration. It's very similar to like Ticketmaster with Oasis tickets or Coldplay tickets, as I've seen. So what could Sony have done to prevent this? Well, I mean, quite simply, they could have said you need a PSN account of a certain age to log in, so those who just decide, oh, I'm going to buy one and flip one, and who don't really play games can't just log in and buy it, or can't have created an account when they announced this thing 2 weeks ago. If you had to have an account that was a certain number of years old, that would have reduced the number of scalpers considerably. It wouldn't have stopped it altogether, I'm aware of that, but it would have at least been a barrier. And they could have seen, look, you've got a 5-year-old account, have you actually played a game in the last 2 or 3 years? If the answer is no, you made your account when you were a teenager and playing the PS3 and you haven't touched it since, yeah, you're not really a hardcore enough fan to be owning this special edition. And I know a lot of people will say, well, there shouldn't be a restriction on whether you want to buy something or not. If you're a fan of this and you really like like the look of it, you should be able to buy it, and I do understand, but I feel like this is built for the hardcore PlayStation fans, and I think Sony should have treated it as such, and they should have looked at each and individual person logging into the PS Direct website and said, look, this is the criteria. You need to have played at least 3 games in the last 6 months, 12 months. You need to have achieved a certain number of play time on this thing as well, and your account needs to be of a certain age. Now, I'm not going to start throwing out the amount of achievements or trophies that they should have and the age of the account or anything. That would be up for Sony to decide what they deem a fan, if you will. But I think that would have limited the amount of scalpers that could have just signed up 2 weeks ago and bought these things. And it would have meant a lot more Sony fanboys and people who collect these things and who love Sony and who love the aesthetic of the console and who play games regularly would have picked these up and got them in their collections, rather than now seeing scalpers list them for $5,000 on eBay and people actually buying them. I cannot believe that 13 sales have been made today alone as I'm filming this for about $4,500–5,000. And now it is my understanding that the PS5 Pro goes on pre-order tomorrow, although I am seeing some people being frustrated on X that they can't get on it, or something went wrong when they tried to buy it for £700, which is just absolutely crazy. So maybe it is available now, I don't know, because I haven't even gone on the website to look. And as I mentioned, I don't think they should be limited past just being 1 per person, because maybe you haven't had a console for a while, but now you've just been thinking, well, I want to get into this generation. The PS5 Pro is going to be the best option for you in terms of quality. It will run GTA 6 better than any other platform will. It'll run newer games better than any other platform will, just because it's that much more powerful. I don't think it warrants £700 powerful, but you get the idea. If you want to jump into this generation and money's no object, or you're willing to spend £700 in order to jump into it, the Pro is going to be the best option. But the Anniversary Edition is a whole other kettle of fish. Let me know what you think in the comments section. Just quickly on the side of this, I didn't notice this the other day when they announced the Anniversary Edition. I was too caught up in how good it looked, and the controller is magnificent. I would love to own that controller. They've actually released like a skin or whatever, a cover for the disk drive, meaning of course those who were concerned that they were going to have to just wedge a white disk drive on the side of it can now actually put a shell on it and it'll blend in with the console. And I really like that for so many reasons. Obviously fits in with the aesthetic, so big props there, but also Sony are not forgetting the discs, and that for me personally is the biggest thing, right? We want this to continue. We want to be able to collect games and physical media. So Sony going to this length, okay, it's literally just a grey shell, but the fact that they thought of it means that they're not completely neglecting discs and they know people want them. Let me know what you think of the whole situation in the comments. Did you go for one of these Anniversary Edition consoles and get one, or maybe you missed out? How frustrated are you that you're now seeing them pop up on eBay for £5,000? Do you think Sony should be putting restrictions in place to limit the amount of people who can buy them? Maybe you do need a 5-year-old account. The other thing, of course, is eBay. Yes, eBay want to make money, but they could just take down any listing that is above face value. If Sony got in contact with them and made a little bit of a deal, or said, look, professional courtesy, can you just stop people selling these for stupid amounts of money, especially until they're actually out? The pre-order, in my opinion anyway, should not be being sold. I'll have a series video out very, very soon. If you want to check out a video from that series, you can click here. And until the next time, goodbye.